This is a special video because we are going to be setting up commercial oil palm field here in Delta State. It's going to be so super informative, so I need you to stay glued. I am going to be sharing a whole lot of all the setup processes so that you can as well, learn a whole lot from this particular project. So stay glued, guys. Commercial oil palm field. Peace. So just before we go in, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, Chidal Agricultural Hub, all you need to do right about now is to punch on that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and do what to give this video a thumb up, because we are definitely diving into this commercial field setup. It's going to be informative. It's going to be all that it promises to be. So stay right there, go nowhere, and keep your fingers crossed. A whole lot of information as always. Peace, guys. The big question is, what do I need to do in order to set up my oil palm commercial field? It is simple. One, you need to own very large expanse of land, because when you're talking about the commercial field setup of an oil palm, so you are talking about oil palm in several hectares of land. So on this very field, we are going to be using 9 meter by 9 meters plant spacing. So, and we are not going to be using a triangular layout method. We are going to be using the vertical layout method, the vertical and then the horizontal layout method. So more like a square like kind of layout method. We are going to have them in boxes. Okay, so 9 meter by 9 meters. So that's what we are going to be having on this very field. So we're not going to be using triangular, because we want a situation where everything aligns on a very vertical line down to wherever we want it to get to, or to wherever the land would end. And then also it aligns horizontally to wherever the land ends, or wherever we want to get to. So that is what we are going to be doing on this field. So literally I'm going to be showing you everything you have to know as regards setting up a commercial oil palm. In crop production, your operations are always split into 3 major ones. We have the pre-planting, the planting, and then the post-planting operations. These are the 3 major operations that you have in crop production. The pre-planting operation are simply those operations you carry out before you begin to plant. The planting operations are those operations you carry out when you are planting, and then the post-planting operation are those operations you carry out after you have cultivated. And part of those operations include weeding, manure application, supply at places that we had missing oil palm seedlings, or holes that those oil palm seedlings didn't get to survive, then which you get to supply. All these are part of post-planting operations. So we are going to be starting with the pre-planting operation we had to carry out on this field. Okay, so what are these pre-planting operations? I am going to be diving in right about now. For the pre-planting operation, in setting up your oil palm field, you have to firstly own a land. I wouldn't advise you to lease a land that you are going to be using to cultivate oil palm. The beauty of oil palm is that oil palm happens to be a generational crop. It's not a crop you just cultivate now and then you're harvesting the next. It's not an annual crop. In the case of oil palm, you have it from generation to generation. So that is the beauty, and then it keeps producing amazingly. I told you, don't lease a land to cultivate this oil palm, because before it starts fruiting, it takes about 3-4 years before it starts fruiting. It's a whole lot of time. And then if it's not your land, my friend, the owner of the land can come any day and tell you he wants to use this land. So first rule is, whenever you are cultivating a long-term crop or a generational crop, always cultivate that in your very own field, on the field that you own by yourself, that has your name on it, that you have full right to. The land is only where you should cultivate your oil palm. The next thing that we did on this field was to ensure that we did proper field clearing. You see a lot of weeds or heap of weeds here and there. Yes, you can't take out that fact, but before now, This place was totally covered by bushes, and they were quite thick and dense. And then because we used manual labor, so we didn't get to have that smooth looking field that you would have gotten if you had a bulldozer come into this field and then pull down all of these trees that we have on this field. Only where is so important to us is the point at which we are digging. This thing is the mapping out of the field. It's also a pre-planting operation. So the mapping out simply means that the outlining of the field. Here we use the 9 meter by 9 meter. The method we use for the outlining, we are going to be getting about 124 125 plants per hectare. Okay, rather if you use the triangular method, you would get close to 150 plants there. So but why are we not using the triangular method? We are not using the triangular method because we want a properly defined field where we can easily navigate in the future with our tractors. We can always have our tractors coming during harvesting and navigate easily through or in between the oil palm trees that would have become trees by then, very massive ones by then. So that was why we chose to go by the 9 meter by 9 meter vertical field outlining, or the square field outlining, depends on how you see it or what you know it at. So that is also part of the pre-planting operation we did. So after we mapped that, the next thing we did was to ensure we dug the holes, and you need to pay attention to these holes. We dug the holes and we made sure we dug a very, very good hole, not too deep that it swallows up all of your oil palm seedling, and not too shallow that the wind, when it blows, can then pull off, or when if you happen to be on a field that has a bit of erosion, when the erosion comes, it then sweeps off your plant, and then you do not have a very firm standing oil palm seedling. So, and that was why it wasn't too deep and wasn't too shallow. We ensured that we had a properly dug out field. Another pre-planting operation that we carried out after the digging was to ensure that we applied a post and a pre-emergence herbicide. So if you look at this field, you would realize that we still have a bit of some grasses here and there. So we ensure that we applied post-emergence herbicide to attend to the already established weeds on the field, and then a pre-emergence to attend to the weed seeds in the soil. So this is very, very critical, because right now we are in the rainy season, and you don't want to know what fields look like when they are not properly treated with herbicide, just to subside the growth of weed for about 8 weeks. Ensured that we did all of these pre-planting operation. You have to be very, very careful. Your pre-planting operation has to be on point. So after we've applied our pre and our post-emergence herbicide, the next thing we did was to then introduce our manures into the already dug holes. You have to do this very operation because this operation is so key. Now, why is it key? It helps your oil palm seedlings already have been confined in a nursery bag that they were put into, and they've been in this nursery bag for over 7 months. The ones we cultivated here are oil palms that are over 7 months, and especially if you are not using irrigation on your field, I advise you cultivate the oil palm seedlings that are over 7 months, because these are better established and they wouldn't need to they would better adapt and better grow on when you introduce them to the field. That is why I usually recommend and use oil palm seedlings over 7 months. Okay, they are bigger than the ones that are below 5 months, and they will better adapt to the environment they are going to be introduced to, and also they would better survive the drought season than the ones that are still tender, that are not up to 7 months. We recommend you use the one that is above 7 months. So after you've done the introduction of your manure And like I said, I'm trying to tell you so you understand the essence of introducing your manure into the already doggo. Mind you, you are digging the hole below 30 centimeters. So what that means is that you are even going below the topsoil level, which the topsoil is that part of the soil that houses most of the organic matter, which simply means that that is where major plant nutrients are found in. So you are going down and into the soil. You are doing that just because you want to give a bit of firmness so that when you cultivate, better rooted and they don't get to bend as they grow. Okay, so that is what the depth you go into gives you. And after you've done that, the next thing you want to do is you ensure you have enough manure in the already doggo. After that, we then move to the planting operation. Okay, I told you there are three major phases: the pre-planting, planting, and the post-planting. So when you carry out all of your pre-planted operation and you do it judiciously without really making mistakes in the process, I tell you, you are going to have a well established field and you'll be happy you did the right things. Okay, do not skip any step. Don't say, let me not do this, because you have yourself to blame in the nearest future. And I do not want a situation where you guys start biting your tongue and then start biting your fingers and start regretting, why did I apply the herbicide when I should have applied it? Why was I trying to save money, and in the long run you spend more money by thinking you were saving money? So make sure you carry out your pre-planting operations very right. Make sure you prepare your land very well. The pre-planting operation is complete and we need to dive into the planting operation, and I want you to come along with me as we go into planting operation. Stay glued, guys. Peace. So the planting operation, guys, becomes very critical because here we determine a whole lot of things you are going to be doing. So we are diving into the field right now, so you get to see the different methods you use in planting. So what you need to do at this point is, once you get your seedling in the nursery bag, you gently tear the nursery bag. Don't plant the seed with the nursery bag, okay? Because obviously the nursery nylon or bags, they are polythene and it doesn't decay. So you wouldn't want a situation where in the course of cultivating your oil palm, you are as well contaminating the soil with the polythene you leave in the soil, and then it wouldn't also give the roots now enough chance to spread that. So what you realize is it is confined and it only has access to just that area where you have the roots in. So you wouldn't want a situation like that. You want a situation where they are already getting established really quickly and already tapping from the nutrient from the surrounding soils. Okay, so that is what you want to do in the planting operation. So you also need to include your net. Okay, this net becomes very critical, your wire mesh or your netting materials. So what you do is, as you cultivate, you dip the net also into the already dug hole. You use it to round the seedling. Now, why you're doing this, you don't want a situation where rodents will come and then eat off the oil palm seedling. Yes, they do that. So you don't want rodent coming to damage your oil palm seedling, but the net would stop them, would prevent them from coming in contact with the stem of the still very tender oil palm seedling. So you do that and then you cover properly. Now for the covering, there's a technique. When you are covering, make sure you start covering the soil with the topsoil. Now the topsoil, when you are digging, is the first portion of soil that you dig out from the soil. Always ensure you keep that one separate. So when you are covering your seedling, you start from the topsoil. You use the topsoil, which was the first soil you dug out from your soil. You use it to fill up the lower part of the hole first. So what you are indirectly doing is you are also increasing the nutrient level. Mind you had already applied your manure during the pre-planting operation, also ensuring that you start filling up the soil with the topsoil. So the topsoil, it becomes the one that goes in first, which will help provide more nutrients, and then you cover up completely using the lower part of the soil. So you make sure the seedlings are firm. Okay, you make sure the seedlings are firm as you are cultivating. So that's basically what you do during your planting operation. And then, so what happens after you are done planting? You want to know, right? So just stay glued as we dive in to find out what happened after you are done cultivating. Okay, stay glued, guys. What you do literally in post-planting operation is just to maintain your field. So what can you also do post-planting? Because of the spacing you are going to be having in between from one plant to another, you have 9 meters, and then before you get to start harvesting is after like 3 years, and then the third year is not like you're harvesting one big bunch of oil palm fruit. No, you are not even doing that. What you are going to be harvesting will still be very, very small oil palm fruit. So when you start harvesting like major bunches is from the 5th year. Yeah, that is when they start growing really big, and then they start developing fully at that point. So that is just it. So what then do you do from the first year? Are you just going to leave out the field and then you weed and maintain or manage the field? So what you can do is you intercrop. You're not doing a monocrop simply means you are doing a single crop. You don't we have farmers who are monocrop farmers or single crop farmers. If you're not doing a single crop, you are probably thinking, okay, what can I do to maximize this field and get more return before these guys are ready in about 3 years? You can literally cultivate other crops, annual crops or short-term crops or even medium-term crops like a year. You can do ugu. But whatever you do, guys, do not allow whatever you do choke your oil palm, okay, because that is your major crop. Anything you do is just temporarily while they develop, okay? So because you don't just want to have weeds growing in between the plants. But then if you are a full-time single crop farmer, you only cultivate oil palm, you already have all the necessary equipment, your weeder mounted on your tractor, you are coming with your tractor and then you're clearing everywhere. You don't need to do any of that, okay? You already have the resources to really pay your staff from the very first year down to the 4th year, 5th year, when it starts fruiting big time. So yeah, of course you can leave it out, but then if you are not that financially stable, you've spent a lot of money, do short-term crop, maize. You can do cassava medium term, but whatever you do, ensure there's enough space from what you are cultivating and the oil palm so it doesn't choke it. And whatever you do, ensure you do not allow weeds competing around this your already established oil palm seedling. And you also ensure that you apply your nutrient as at when due. Nutrient critical for it to really develop and then flourish. Okay, so that's it basically, guys. We are done cultivating. The next phase now is the post-planting operation, and that is what we are going to be doing. But for this field, it's a single crop when intercropping. Okay, so we just want to for now have just oil palm on this field. Okay, so stay glued, guys. We've literally come to the end of this video, and if your hands ain't too busy right now, I need you to punch on that like button. Like this video if you haven't done that. So quickly like this video, and then also subscribe if you're just joining this channel, Chidava Agricultural Hub. And you need to do this really quickly. Turn on your notification bell so that when other videos drop, you get notified. Okay, and be among the very first to tap into the knowledge that we share on this channel. So guys, don't be in a haste. Do well to share this video with that your friend that wants to set up an oil palm field. a commercial oil palm field, do well to share this with that your friend. Okay, so at this point in time, guys, we are going to be drawing the curtain, and we are saying that make sure you do agriculture right. And if you have any crop project, or you want to get hybrid oil palm seedlings, what we have is tenera, or sometimes they call it super gene, because this guy literally has very high oil content. Okay, tenera or the super gene variety. If you need any of this, any quantity at all, guys, if you need 1 million seedlings, oil palm seedlings, for that your massive commercial field, all you need to do is go to the description and send us a message. Tell us where your location is. We are going to find that location and then have this super gene tenera or tenera variety of oil palm seedling delivered to you. It takes about 3 years with proper management, and then from the 3rd year you start fruiting. Okay, by the 5th year you are really harvesting massively. Okay, and if you are doing, I would advise you go for the oil palm seedling above 7 months. That is always way better because they are stronger and would better adapt to your environment. Okay, so guys, we are drawing the curtain at this point in time. Do well to subscribe, like, share, and ensure to be on the lookout. That's why you have to turn on your notification bell, on the lookout for subsequent videos and other amazing information we always share on this channel. Do agriculture right, guys. Peace.